The early 90s saw a brief yet fierce console war on the newly emerged handheld gaming market. While Atari floundered with the Lynx and Nintendo dominated with the Game Boy, Sega was pushing innovations with the Game Gear. While Nintendo would win out overall and dominate the handheld market for years to come, the Game Gear would make a solid impact during its time in the limelight, releasing a number of excellent ports and original games. Here are the top 10 Sega Game Gear games of all time. Number 10. RoboCop vs Terminator. An inevitable 90s crossover, RoboCop vs Terminator was released in some form on most major consoles of the time, with the same simple format of RoboCop facing off waves of thugs and time-displaced Terminators. The gore is surprising and entertaining for a handheld port, with most enemies going up in puffs of red mist when killed as players cross dark alleys and shady rooftops. RoboCop vs Terminator sure is an adventurous firefight to remember. Number 9. Space Harrier. One of Sega's best arcade-style shooters saw release on a variety of consoles, including the Game Gear. Space Harrier was the simplistic, artistic perspective shooter that was in abundance at the time, delivering addictive gameplay and catchy music to keep players coming back. This older arcade beauty is given new life on the Game Gear, standing as a comparable version to the Sega Master System release, while bringing a console-quality game to the palms of people's hands. Space Harrier is an excellent time killer for someone trapped on a long car ride or flight. Number 8. Streets of Rage 2. Who could say no to an arcade beat-em-up on the go? A downscale of the Sega Genesis series, Streets of Rage 2 on Game Gear simplifies the levels and the controls to fit the handheld setting, keeping the pacing and the music fast and the action flowing freely. Players find themselves travelling from the cityscape to dockyards and jungles, with plenty of foes to beat down with their fists, or the closest available blunt instrument. For a bite-sized taste of an arcade-style juggernaut, Streets of Rage 2 for the Game Gear is a solid experience for those yearning for the real deal. Number 7. Shinobi II. Shinobi 2 is a faithful version of Sega's hit ninja side-scrolling series, with all the camp, beautiful sights and sounds, and enemy hordes that series veterans are familiar with. With an array of Mega Man-style superpowers to carry players across a wide variety of settings, there's no lack of creative scenarios and replayable situations for players to try out again and again. Number 6. Tails' Adventure. It didn't take too long for Sonic's little pal to get his own solo experience, fittingly found on Sega's handheld. Tails' Adventure emphasises his small stature and incredible genius to navigate tunnels, caves and tree lines, using bombs and gadgets to ward off enemies and remove obstacles in his way. In addition, the sprite work and sound design are incredibly impressive, nearly matching the work of the full-scale 16-bit Genesis games. Whether you're a Sonic diehard or a newcomer, Tails' Adventure is an experience worth having under the belt. Number 5. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The blue blur knows no bounds, not even technological ones. The 16-bit superstar made the jump backwards onto the Master System and sidestepped onto the Game Gear, bringing the energetic platforming on the go. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 condenses most of the original game to fit this tinier frame, focusing on raw platforming and boss battles to keep the pace fast and the action hectic. It's not the Genesis version that's become a cult classic, but it's a mighty fine piece of high-speed thrills. Number 4. Deep Duck Treble starring Donald Duck. Disney platformers were all the rage in the 90s, and Donald Duck was at the forefront. Deep Duck Treble has Donald on an island touring adventure, stomping enemies, kicking blocks and dodging pitfalls across a tropical paradise. The sound design and graphics are very smooth, defined and beautiful, translating the animated mallard into pixel form in fantastical style, making the game feel like a cartoon. The tone and difficulty are downplayed and relaxing, offering a fair but fun challenge that prioritises the adventure over the hardships of completion. For a laid-back trip across a beautiful vacation island and its many secrets, Deep Duck Treble stands tall as a soothing joyride for a beloved handheld. Number 3. Shining Force, The Sword of Hedgehog. RPGs were taking off, but it wouldn't be until the later half of the 90s that Pokemon would make them a staple of the handheld market. Shining Force is a fully fledged old-school RPG with all the trimmings, including an overworld map, inventory management, an engaging fantasy story, and turn-based party mechanic combat. It's a full, hours-long RPG that takes the player by the hand and buries them in a world of fantasy and high concepts, a marvellous achievement for the hardware of the era. Shining Force's sheer wealth of content is a testament to the genre's ability to thrive in a mobile setting. Number 2. Ninja Gaiden. The rage-inducing, difficult ninja action platformer Ninja Gaiden found its way onto the Game Gear, and it's no easier while playing on the go. Every enemy is placed strategically and behaves with the exact intention to induce rage and chew away at the player's health bar. Every boss is a test of human endurance, and every level completed feels like the weight of Atlas being lifted off someone's shoulders. Ninja Gaiden is the ultimate test of reflexes and grit, not meant for the faint of heart or the uninitiated. If players want to beat a game that will fight them for every pixel of space, Ninja Gaiden is the series that will win out more often than it loses. Number 1. Gunstar Heroes. A handheld console will lean towards certain games and ideas more than a television plugged home console, and ease of use is one of these ideas that Gunstar Heroes excels at. A beautiful, smooth and easy to play run and gun sci-fi shooter, Gunstar Heroes is the ultimate pick up and play video game that uses the backlit colour screen of the Game Gear to deliver the best gameplay possible for the system it's running on. The action is easy to follow and addicting to master, the sound effects and music are catchy and easily identifiable, and the experience keeps players hooked on the idea of coming back repeatedly to master the game's mechanics. Gunstar Heroes is the epitome of a good mobile game, and the Game Gear thrived as a result of games like this, keeping players hooked on Sega's high-end beauty. And that is the end of this list. Of course, many other games could have been on here, so why not go down to the comments and let us know what you would have had on the list. While you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons and give the bell icon a tap so that you're notified whenever we've got new stuff for you to watch. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, cheers my dears.